What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the Draftkings Picks and Predictions Show. We have UFC 301. We got Alexandre Pantoja going against Steve Erceg here. Pay-per-view card, 14 fights. We got Weezy, Monk, and Gordo in the building. We'll kick it to you first. Weezy, you looking forward to UFC 301?
Yeah, man, 14 fight week, so those are always like a lot of research to be done. But, when you got that many fights, you're going to have some spots that stick out. You're going to have some fights that you want to avoid DraftKings wise. You're going to have some ones you're going to be all in on. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say and how our ideas about this week's card line up.
Yes, sir. We got Monk in the building. Monk, you looking forward to some UFC 301?
Absolutely. Like Weezy said, 14 fight cards are a bit harder to juggle for DFS, but we'll try to give you some sage advice, help you navigate the choppy waters this week. But I mean, pay-per-view card, it's looking, 14 fights is pretty deep no matter how you cut it. So yeah, absolutely looking forward to this one.
And last but not least, we got Gordo. Gordo, how were finals?
They were good, man. They're happy to get over with, that's for sure. And we're on to the next. Huge shout out to Lou for taking my spot and crushing it, which we'll talk about later. But no, happy to be back, ready to dive into. And it's a decent card to be back in doing so. So a pay-per-view, 14 fights to talk about. Next week, I'll be at the fights too. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. A good time of the year. So let's make some money off of it.
Absolutely. Before we get into it, if you guys can please do us a favor, like the video, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. We go live every Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time, breaking down some DraftKings. We got Olajuwon in the building. First one in here. What is up, Olajuwon? We got Truth Teller, new number. Appreciate you, Truth Teller. And then we got the Carrillo, who's also a member here at Pub Sports Radio. What is up, F. Carrillo? All right. I say we get right into it, guys. We're going to start with the fight to target here, and let's kick it to Gordo. Gordo, what is your favorite fight to target for UFC 301?
Oh, man, there's many fights I'd like to target this week, but let's just take the easy way out for me and go with the main event. Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erceg. Pantoja's a guy who's been an absolute killer in these 5-rounders. In his 2 5-round wins, he scored 143 and 142. That is a phenomenal ability to go out there and score points, especially at a little bit of a salary relief at 8.8K compared to the high 9K range we have on a 14-fight card. You add in the fact that a lot of Steve's coming in on Steve Erceg. He's someone who is relatively easy to get to his underdog, who people are seeming to like. He has a good ability to go out there and land at a high rate as well. This fight will be fought at a high pace for 25 minutes most likely, and if that's the case, I do think the winner of this matchup should end up towards the optimal lineup. A lot of upside to be had, a very good history, at least on the one side of Pantoja, and it should line up for a very decent matchup for pay-per-view, for DraftKings purposes.
Yeah, I had that one as well, but I will go ahead and give a different one. Dang it, Gordo. I should have had a backup though plan. I mean, I picked the main event, so that was my bad. So I'll get one. Weezy, what do you got for your favorite fight to target?
Yeah, I mean, I like that main event quite a bit as well. I'll give you guys my titty back Oral Boy. We're gonna go with he's fighting Elves Brener, and I think Oral Boy is a good target this week at 9,000. A lot of these guys that are up in the 96 to 9,200 range, I don't know if I want to pay up for him this week. But with somebody like Oral Boy, he's gonna wrestle. That he's gonna probably be able to get that they'll be able to get back up and he'll be able to get those mat returns. In addition to that, you could get Elves Brener, who's 3-0 in the UFC and has twice won fights as a big underdog at only 7,200 this week. So I think he's a great underdog option that's got a ton of upside. And if Oral Boy fights the way that we saw him fight in that Medic fight, like we saw him fight in the Jalen Fuller fight in LFA, where he just has that suffocating style that's beautiful for DraftKings. It's just DraftKings gold. You're just churning takedowns and control time and 0.2 points every time you tap them in the head with a little shot. It's a great way to score a ton of points. So I think Oral Boy versus his opponent, God damn it, Brener is the best fight to target this week.
Yeah, so like I said, I had the main event. I'm going to go with my backup here, which is going to be, I believe it's the first fight of the night. I think this fight's one of my favorite fights on the card. It's Alessandro Costa going against Kevin Borjas, and this is a fight where they're priced right in the mid-range. Like Costa, 8,200, Borjas is 8,000. I think both guys have paths to score well. First of all, I think these guys are going to swing dicks, which I like. And then second of all, I think Costa has a really clear path to victory here with the grappling. He's a BJJ black belt. We've seen Borjas submitted before. So I think Costa can potentially get this fight down to the mat, get a sub. I think both guys are live for a knockout as well. So first fight of the night, sign me up. But yeah, I'm with Gordo in terms of that main event. I'm going to have a ton of exposure. Monk, what is your favorite fight to target?
Love all those. I'll give you something a little bit different. This is fourth on my list. We'll go with Pereira and Ihor Potieria here. I mean, super expensive guy in Michel Pereira, but he has scored pretty well. Actually, he's come really close. Actually, he's like seconds away from the quick win bonus in both of his last two fights against Michel Erceg and Andre Petrosky. I don't really I could expect that here against Potieria. Who knows? He got his win against Robert Bricek, where Bricek completely gassed himself out in like halfway through the fight, halfway through the second, something like that. But if Pereira can't get it done, Potieria is the cheapest fighter on the entire card. So even if he wins by decision, that's basically an optimal lineup. And Pereira, even though he is so expensive, I do think he has a chance at KOing Potieria, especially since he's been fighting. I think he's finally mixing up the crazy from his early days and the technical, like being overly technical from his like mid-range days. And I think we're in a nice balance here. So I think he's got a shot to pay off the salary. And if he doesn't, Potieria gets a greasy decision or catches something, obviously optimal at 6,600.
Yeah, that fight is going to be fun. I'm glad they put that one on the main card.
Yeah, and the under 1.5 is like minus fucking 250 or something like that.
Yeah, it's getting crushed. We got Frank in the building. What is up? What is up, Frank? Frank says vodka Brady. Frank, you know me too well, way too well. Brady's always got the exotic.
Last week.
Yeah, gotta love some vodka. We got Preston in the building. What is that, Preston? I can't go into any UFC events. Sorry, the vodka's getting to me. I can't get to any UFC. The vodka, I need to lay off this stuff. All right, here we go. I can't get to any UFC events when I paid $50 to watch GSP and Brock Lesnar in Minnesota back in the day. Now I see they charge thousands per ticket. Yeah, I was gonna go to UFC 299 and the tickets were like $1,000. And then I was going to go to UFC 300, and the tickets are like, I swear, like almost $2,000 for the worst seat in the house. So, yeah, somebody needs to get some help. But yeah, I think Minnesota or St. Louis next week, it's not going to be that expensive, right, Gordo?
No, it's not. But the trade-off is you get a Derek Lewis main event and a pretty lackluster name value card, although there are going to be some decent fights.
Are they paying you to go?
No, I wish. I'm actually just there to catch Derek Lewis's jock when he throws in the crowd.
Yes. There you go. Yikes. Okay. Let's move on to the fight to fade. We'll start with the Monk. What is your fight to fade for this week?
Well, this is one of my favorite fights to witness. I'm going to go with the co-main event as far as a fight to fade for DraftKings, which is good for me because I can just sit back and watch it. It's the return of José Aldo. He's got one fight left on his deal. We don't back retiring fighters or fighters that have already retired or a combination of both in this case. But of course, we are going to be rooting for José Aldo. Meanwhile, Jonathan Martinez, where Aldo used to be the leg kick guy, now it's kind of Martinez. He's in the top, I think, like 15 or 20% in the division as far as leg kicks landed per minute. And Aldo actually takes a ton of leg kicks. He is in the bottom 20% in the division as far as leg kicks taken per minute. Martinez, I mean, I don't need to say much. He's on a freaking roll. And he's not he's not priced more expensive than he usually is. In fact, he's a bit under. He's been 88, 89, 88. Recently 8K against Yanez in a crazy underdog spot there. And 7,100 against Said Nurmagomedov. So he's coming at 8,300. I think it's a decent price, but I just don't know how he's going to score, man. I mean, if this goes to decision, which I think it will, I think the winner scores 70 to 80 points, maybe 85 if we're lucky. So even at these mid-range salaries, I'm not a fan of this fight for DraftKings. But like I said, it will be a blast to watch for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a fight indeed. Weezy, what is your favorite fight to fade for this week?
That was definitely it. But you know, another one I don't think is that bad to fade is going to be Ismael Bonfim versus Vince Pichel. I actually have a bet on this fight to go to decision at plus 120. And now that line is moving, which means that, it's getting to that point right now with fight goes, fight doesn't go, that it's almost a pick 'em. So Ismael Bonfim is $9,300. Do you want to pay that for a guy, who probably has got less than a 50% chance to finish this fight inside the distance and win it? Especially when you got guys like Vitor Petrino around him. Even Caio Borralho is not much of a finisher, but Paul Craig has been finished in almost all of his losses. You know, Michel Pereira has been sparking hose like in a minute lately. So are you going to pass on somebody like that could land a bunch of volume like Lucindo, somebody that could wrestle a bunch like Oral Boy, or a finishers like Petrino or Pereira? So I think that Ismael Bonfim, and then like Michel is just not a big DraftKings scorer. He's probably going to wrestle a little bit, but he's 41 and a half years old. You know, I don't think he's going to go out there and put together like a Marab, like, you know, grappling performance. So yeah, I think he's going to dance around a lot, and it might be a low volume staring match. So I do think that Bonfim Pichel fight's a decent one to avoid this week.
Yep. Agreed. For me, I'm going to go with the Gene Silva William Gomi fight. So first of all, this line is completely closed up, and it looks like it's heading towards a pick'em. So right off the bat, you know, Gene Silva 8,600, not a ton of value there. And even how this fight's playing out, I feel like it's going to be like a William Gomi paced fight, like not a ton going on. William Gomi does a really good job at limiting his opponent's volume, really slowing down the fight. Could be, you know, both low volume either way. I think this fight does go to decisions. So I just feel like neither guy scores well here. So it's going to be a fade for me. Gordo, which fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I think those are all great options. I'm going to go with the Iasmin Lucindo versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz fight as my fight to fade. I completely understand the volume upside for someone like Lucindo, who is going to be younger, who is going to be more explosive, who is going to have more opportunity to score out there. But I do think when it looks at the history of both these fighters, especially the Iasmin Lucindo side of things, who is sitting at 9.2K, but has never eclipsed 94 points on DraftKings, is really not the best look for me. I think she is someone who, although can go out there and dominate a fight the same way she did to Walker in Vienna, she doesn't really have the style to go out there and land hundreds of thousands of punches or go out there or get a first-round finish, in my opinion. I think she is someone who can win this fight at a high clip and will be the more explosive fighter, but may not really translate that towards DraftKings. You also have to compare her to the people around her, as Weezy alluded to in the Ismael Bonfim, in the Vitor Petrinos and Pereira and Borralhos and kind of stuff like that. So to me, I just think they're more attractive options. And although I do think Lucindo wins at a high clip, she's not my favorite high upside target compared to the rest of this high range.
There we go. Four different ones there for you guys. We'll move on to our fighter to fade. I'll kick this one off. This is a guy that Weezy talked about a little bit. It's going to be Ismael Bonfim here at 9,300. Yeah, I'm just not sure he has much upside here. Like, first of all, he's super highly priced. I don't like this price tag for him. I'm not sure he finishes Pichel, especially early. Like if maybe late. I think this fight does go the distance. He has no grappling upside. Like, just grappling Pichel just wouldn't make any sense here. So I think his game plan is going to be kind of keep this on the feet and just outpoint Pichel across 3 rounds. And at 9,300, I just don't think that scores well. I think there's many better options with finishing upside, like a Pereira, a Borralho, even like a Petrino, and an Oral Boy as well up there. So I'm going to be fading Bonfim as well. Gordo, which fighter are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I don't mind fading Bonfim. I'm going to fade actually Jonathan Martinez, someone we've already talked about as a fade this week. I think he is someone who has a very good chance to win. I think he could very well win this fight, but I don't see much finish equity. I don't see much grappling equity. And we're just left at something that's going to be a closely contested kickboxing affair in Brazil. And how often do we want to go out there and play against José Aldo on DraftKings? I do think Jonathan Martinez is a guy who is content to win a volume-based decision, and he scored in 64 against Magomedov, 76 against Morales, 59 against Perez, 67 against Lalashvili. Like, he is content to be that low-scoring DraftKings fighter to win the fight. And I'm not saying he can't win. I'm just saying his style doesn't translate that well, so I am not really going to play him much at 8.3K. I prefer the options around him. There's just better plays to me.
Yep, makes sense. Monk, which fighter are you fading for this week?
We're going to go back up to the high 9K range. Caio Borralho this week at 9,500. Look, I mean, outside of the Michel Oleksiejczuk fight, and that dude's just basically a power striker, has no grappling whatsoever, gets subbed very easily. Borralho scored 107 in that one. Otherwise, it's 68, 75, 80, 77. He's perfectly content, much like Gordo said with Martinez, but in the grappling side of things, just kind of hanging out, you know what I mean? Just kind of winning the fight basically every minute, but just kind of hanging out. He's not really looking for finishes, and I don't know if he's going to be really looking for finishes. I mean, I guess every submission grappler wants a submission against another submission grappler, so you would hope both these guys are coming out looking to finish. But honestly, man, I mean, Paul Craig's still down at middleweight. Yeah, his 50% shoot a takedown and then roll to his back does not inspire confidence. But at the same time, I mean, both guys are super high-level grapplers. This could kind of stalemate each other out. I think Borralho's probably going to win. I'm rooting for Paul Craig, but yeah, I don't. If this goes to decision, I think we see his average 80 points and nothing special at 9,500. So I'm going to be fading Caio Borralho here.
And last but not least, we got Weezy. Which fighter are you fading for this week?
I'm gonna fade Gene Silva this week because he's fighting William Gomez. Let me see. Right now, William Gomez has had 3 fights in the UFC, and in those 3 fights, his opponents are averaging 19 points per fight against him.
Oh God,
19. So that's what he's giving up. And frankly, this guy's been to decision twice. And the other time it went halfway through the 3rd round, and that fight shouldn't have even been stopped. But like, this guy's allowing 1.34 DraftKings points per minute to his opponents. And when you watch the way he fights, he's constantly feinting. He does a great job of maintaining distance, and he's always looking to counter. So because of the feints, because of the waiting to counter, even though he's standing right in front of you, it just slows down the output of the opponents, because they're always worried about what's coming back at them, and they have to worry about the fact that this guy can touch them when they can't touch him because of the length and that he has in this division. So I think Gomez is a tough matchup for anybody DFS wise, and I've seen Silva be in fights, and he is kind of patient. He finds those moments a lot, but he's patient waiting for them. And I think he might be like, after 15 minutes, be like, oh shit, the fight's over. I forgot to fight, because Gomez can kind of slow you down. So that's why I'm staying away from him.
Sorry, Dixon. He told me to pull up the stare down video with Silva and Gomi. Yeah, I told you. I think Silva's possessed, man. I mean, it's hilarious. They're staring at each other for 30 seconds. And then Gomi walks away and starts smiling, like laughing. And Silva's just continuing, just like staring at him like this the entire time. And Gomi's like laughing about it. Yeah, Silva scares the hell out of me. That's for damn sure. All right. So we got the fighters to fade. Let's go now to our favorite dog. Let's see what you guys like from a dog perspective. I'll start with you, Uncle Weezy. What dog do you like for this week?
Let me see. I was going to give you. Who was I going to give you?
We can pass it.
No. I'll go without, because I'm determining whether I want to do value play or dog, and I'll just do this as the dog will be William Gomez this week, because at 7,600 I think he can win the fight, and right now because he's trending towards pick'em, and you're getting him at 7,600, that's almost $500 in price savings that you're looking at for your lineup. Now, is Gomi the best DraftKings scorer? No, absolutely not. He's actually quite low volume, but I still think that this guy's going to be very low owned because he hasn't scored a lot of points in his wins. But when I watch this guy fight, he's very precise and he can be very powerful. I think there's a finish coming for William Gomi at some point with a head kick, with a body kick that shuts down the liver. I can or just a straight counter left. So I do like he's going to be in my lineup this week, William Gomi as a dog at 7,600. And if he gets a finish and drops triple digits, nobody's going to own him. And the leverage that you're going to get on a guy like Gomi is going to be sick.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Monk, who do you like as a dog this week?
I like to pick Weezy, but has he even scored 100 points in all 3 of his fights put together?
I think
he scored 40 in one.
You're absolutely right, but this is a different fighter here, and
yeah, for sure. At 76, it's decent. He was like 86 last time, so this is a big savings.
Yeah, he's scoring. He's actually scoring 63 points per fight, so it's still not that bad. If he wins at 85. That's not bad, but that's with 3 really slow performances where his opponents weren't really engaging him. If Silva closes the distance and gets reckless here, he might walk onto something that ends his night. So it's going to be a fun fight. And I think, like I said, a lot of leverage possibility there for him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And some of those fighting nerds guys, you just don't know how it's going to go, man. Borralho looks like he's pretty tame, but the rest of them, who knows? I'll give you one of my favorite fighters on the card and of all time, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, favorite underdog of the week, way down there at 7,000. She's fighting a 22-year-old. Yeah, she's 38. But as Aaliyah said, age ain't nothing but a number here. There's a huge difference. But Lucindo has been fighting Polyana Viana. She's been fighting Brogan Walker. And Kowalkiewicz is neither of those fighters. Meanwhile, in her last four, she's in her 4-fight win streak that she's pulled off. Kowalkiewicz landing 9 strikes a minute, 5 per minute, 9.2 a minute, and 9.4 per minute. Absolutely love to see it. Another fighter that hopefully will be pretty low owned. And Lucindo, let's say, we mentioned the age difference. She's only 22 years old. Yeah, she's got 20 professional fights. Go to her Tapology page. At least 10 of those are against 0-0 chicks, 2-0 chicks, 0-2 fighters on the card. So I'm thinking she's pretty inexperienced, and hopefully Karolina can at least keep it going. Let's get to 5. And in 2 of her last wins, she's put up 103 and 112. So she is getting it done. One of my personal favorites, absolute top of the charts for my favorite underdog this week. Probably a little biased, but man, she gets it done. Much like Weezy's pick, nobody's going to be owning her. Nobody.
Yeah, for me, I really hate the majority of the dogs this week. It's kind of tough. A lot of massive favorites, a lot of guys that should come through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a dog that I think has some upside. That's going to be Joaquim Silva at 7,500. I think this fight's going to be fun. I think these guys are going to swing dicks. I was surprised to see the fight doesn't go to decision at -160, considering when you think of close, you think of a guy that typically goes to decision a lot. But I guess they're kind of seeing the fight the way I'm seeing it. Like, both of these guys have a lot of power. Both of these guys are going to throw down. Both these guys are really hittable. I think somebody gets knocked out here, and Silva 7,500. I don't mind it. I'm picking 2 dogs for this card, but I don't really like them from a DraftKings perspective. Like, I'm picking José Aldo. Like, I'm not really sure that fight scores too well. But yeah, Silva's a guy that I'm not picking to win, but I think in a win, it's a finish here. Gordo, who do you like as a dog this week?
Yeah, I picked someone as a dog this week who's not only going to come in relatively under-owned, but a fight that should go overlooked as a whole. I'm taking a shot on Ernesta Caracate, 7.3K, someone who's very tough to say, but someone who I do think has a better chance to win than the line entails, and someone who just put up 184 strikes in her one Dana Contender Series bout. Now, of course, there's risk with her. We have not seen her tested too much. Her opponent does seem to have the better ground game, but if this is a striking game, if this fight goes all 15 minutes, the volume is on her side, and she is someone who is going to have the ability to put up a ton of strikes, and a really surprising score for someone who I do see being relatively under-owned. So at 7.3K, you're allowed to get a lot of these higher-end options up top. You can plug her into your lineup, and although she has the risks of being controlled on the ground, as long as this fight's on the feet, she averages over 12 strikes per second. 184 strikes in 15 minutes is a lofty goal to go for, but she's shown she can do it. I think this could be a very sneaky play.
Yeah, what a fight. What a fight on UFC 301. All right, we'll move on to our prize picks play here. Talk some prize picks. We'll stick with you, Gordo. What are you liking from a prize picks perspective?
Yeah, there's a bunch of interesting lines and a fight that I'm surprised we have not talked about already. Let's go with the under insignificant strikes for Marcio Ruffi. We talked a lot about Jamie Larkey's chin in the past. He's someone who I do think that is his biggest red flag. And because of that, the line is swinging the other way. Ruffi showed that he was able to stay really composed, counter strike in Dana White Contender Series and land that powerful shot. He is not the most volume-based guy, but he is someone who is able to counter when it matters. And it may only take one shot at this point to hit the chin of Jamie Larkey, who has been cracked before. I do think this line is pretty relatively high. 46.5 strikes for a guy in Malarkey who does not have the best chin, and a guy in Ruffy who has been relatively patient. Give me the under.
Yep, I have that one as well. But I'm going to go with Alexandre Pantoja more than 2.5 takedowns. His last 2 fights have went 50 minutes combined. Against Moreno, he went out there and he was 6 for 11 on takedowns. And then against Royval, he was like 8 for 14 on takedowns. And I think the game plan is going to be the exact same thing. Like, he's not going to go out there and strike with Erceg for 25 minutes. He's going to mix in takedowns early and often. I think this fight does get extended, if not go the distance. And I think that Pantoja should at least get 3 takedowns, at least. But I think there's a lot higher upside for takedowns here than 3. So give me Erceg more than 2.5 takedowns. Weezy, what are you liking from a prize picks perspective this week?
Yeah, there's a couple of spots that I like. I'll give you Gene Silva less than 45.5 significant strikes. Kind of a funny number because that's a decent amount of significant strikes to get. But the problem is that William Gomez is absorbing 1.49 significant strikes per minute. So at that rate, over 15 minutes, you're looking at 22.5 significant strikes. He would have to double the amount of significant strikes that Gomez absorbs per minute in order to get to that number, and it would have to be a 15-minute fight on top of that. Gomi is a guy who will sometimes put you up against that cage and hold you there. There could be some grappling in this fight, and whenever there's grappling, you're going to have less significant strikes landed per minute on average than you do at distance striking range. So I think there's a lot of reasons to like that under for Gene Silva, not even to mention that the guy's got a ton of power. So he is the type of guy who can shut you off with one big shot. So I think there's a lot of ways that number can go under for significant strikes. And I'll just let you in on a little secret. Uncle Weezy's tits metric absolutely loves that under.
There we go.
Little under tit? Who doesn't love that?
Yeah. Let's keep that between us, though. That's going to be one of those ones that we tell to our families on holidays. My buddy Uncle Weezy's got a tits metric. Says that this one's coming in.
Keep it on the hush.
Keep it on the hush. Monk, what do you got for surprise picks?
We're gonna get. I think it's a little risky, but I also think it's kind of not at the same time. Jonathan Martinez over 63.5 significant strikes landed. Look, he's landed 4.5 against Yanez, 4.5 per minute against Yanez, 6.6 against Cub Swanson, 5.8 against Morales, and 5 against Alejandro Perez. Meanwhile, Aldo, he's getting hit with 6 a minute, 5 a minute, 8.29 against Peter Yan. The only fight really in which he hasn't in his last few is against Merab Dvalishvili, who probably, he landed or he got hit with 57 strikes against Merab. Merab probably shot more takedowns than strikes attempted in that one. So that's to be expected. But I think this one goes to decision. Martinez, I think I think both these guys are here to fight, to be completely honest. So I think that 63.5 is well within reach, and hopefully we see something in like at least the 70s to 80s on the Jonathan Martinez side by the time this one's done.
Not again, Brady.
What?
When we said keep it on the hush, we didn't mean right now.
I was letting Monk finish. Monk, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying, I wonder when Brady's going to unmute himself.
I was not even muted. I was looking at something. Anyway, let's move on to our favorite GPP play, and let's start with Monk. What do you like for a GPP play this week?
Let's see here. Well, shit, I'll just take the super easy one. You touched on it. I believe it was you. I don't know if it was just prize picks or whatnot, but Alexandre Pantoja, 5-round fight. Guy put up 140 and I think it was Gordo actually might have mentioned it. 140 and 140. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to roster this dude? He's not even 9K. I think he's 8,800 this week. Made optimal in 3 out of his last 5. He is just on an absolute tear. 99, 100, and then the 140s back to back. Just looking great, man. Meanwhile, Steve Erceg, only 13 pro fights. I think Pantoja's got more UFC fights than that. He's a bit hyped up, but that said, I mean, there could be there is some reason behind the hype, but I just don't know if he's gonna just beat Pantoja like that. I'd be kind of surprised. So yeah, give me Pantoja 8,800. I'm out of the 9K range, and I still have a ton of DraftKings upside, especially if he's going to land all those takedowns that you guys were talking about. That would be gigantic.
Yep, I like it. I'll be talking about him in the next section. But for me, I'm going with my titty back, Oral Boy. He's sitting at 9,000 here, and he scored like 1 million points in his debut. I don't expect 1 million points here, but I still expect a pretty solid score. I think it's going to be a fun fight here versus Elves Brener. And I like, my titty back to be able to kind of, do really whatever he wants here. I think if he wants to go out there and strike with Brener, I think he can. But I think the path is going to be for him to go out there, strike a little bit, mix in the takedowns. And I think he does have some serious takes on upside across 15 minutes. He's only 9K, and I think he has some solid upside overall. So I'm taking my titty back, Oral Boy, as a GBP play here. Weezy, who you liking for GBP?
Yeah, I like both of those spots. They're both going to be in my lineup, so I'll just give you somebody else I'm going with this week, and that's going to be Deani Barbosa. Deani Barbosa is a judoka black belt, also a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and her opponent, Karaskeita, she's fought a judo player twice, same girl, Letitia Blow, a French woman, and Blow took her down a lot. And Blow had some of the worst striking that I've ever seen. Like if you were to watch those Karaskeita fights against Blow, Blow's got the some of the most comically bad striking that I've ever seen. But even she was able to close distance, get in on her hips, and get takedowns against Karaskeita, hold her down, really dominate in the grappling exchanges. And if Blow's doing that to you, add a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt on top of the judo accolades that Letitia Blow has, and that's what you have with Barbosa. I think she's going to get a finish here. And I think she won't be as high owned as Pantoja and Oral Boy around her. So I think that that'll be a good play this week where you get a little bit of leverage and some underrated finish upside, in my opinion. But even if she doesn't finish, I think she's going to get a lot of takedowns here.
Yep. It makes sense to me, and a lot of monies came in on her as well. She was, she's now minus 230. It looks like some value there. Monk, who you liking for a GPP play?
I think I already went.
Okay,
Gordo.
No, I was also going to talk about my titty back Oral Boy, but I think you said enough about him. What a great character he is, and a great DraftKings play this week at 9K. Another option for me I'm liking is a guy who I just talked about on Prize Picks, Marcelo Rufi, 8.4K. I think his upside is rooted in towards a KO, and although I don't think he necessarily has the safest floor, he's someone with a ton of KO upside. He's someone who's faced someone Malarkey who has been rocked, who has been finished, and who allows a lot of points to be accumulated against him. Marcelo Rufi, 8.4K. He is expected to finish this fight, and in doing so, I do think he has a very high ceiling. I do think I'll be playing him in some GPP. His upside is definitely there, but the preferred play is my titty back Oral Boy.
And with that, the over has cashed.
The
over under was set at 11.5 for.
I haven't even said it yet.
My titty back Oral Boy. Weezy got like 6 or 7 in there. I got like 3, and then Gordo got 3. So the over has cashed. Cash the over. It has been said at least 13 times now at this point. So yeah, shout out.
I said it too low. I knew as soon as I said it too low, but
as soon as you said it, I smashed the over. So
oh yeah,
enjoy the win.
The over has hit. Only 30 minutes in, so there we go. All right, moving on. We have our favorite cash play. I'm going to kick us off here, and I really like Alexandre Pantoja from a cash perspective. I think he has upside. I think he's very safe. This guy has 5-6 losses, never been finished in his entire career, and has fought a ton of killers. I don't think Erceg's finishing him. I think this fight's going to get extended, if not go the full 25. I think he has takedown upside, control time upside. Yeah, I like him. You know, in a win, I think Pantoja scores very, very well. But even if it's a loss and it does go 25, I still think he scores pretty well also. So I like Pantoja. I think is a great cash play this week. And he's not even that expensive at 8.8K. There's a ton of fighters priced higher than him. Monk, who are you liking for a cash play this week?
Love that one. That's my favorite one. You just talked about him, and I just talked about him as well. So I'll go to this. I don't really like the super 9K range, but I'll give you Michel Pereira, I guess, against Ihor Potieria. He should easily. Let me be careful here. He should win this fight for sure, especially the way he's been fighting, as I already alluded to, the mixture of the crazy and the technical. I think he's kind of getting it dialed in there. And Potieria if he's not fighting a newbie like Robert Brichek or Shogun, who should have retired several years before that fight actually happened. He's just not looking good. Even in the fights he's winning, he's still finding ways to lose, like against Rodolfo Bellato. So yeah, give me Michel Pereira. I think he can crack the score. He's been right there a couple of times. I think there's a chance for a quick win, and even if that doesn't happen, I think his upside is still pretty good, as long as we get a first round finish. So give me Pereira here.
Weezy, who are you liking for cash this week?
Oh wow, what a save! You almost had it.
What?
Huh?
Dude, I like Pantoja and my titty back Oral Boy here. I think you can get either one of those guys in the lineup. They're both extremely affordable this week. You're getting 5 rounds out of Alexandre Pantoja, and he's a guy who's scoring over 3 DraftKings points per minute. And with Oral Boy, you got a guy who's just constantly wrestling. He really fights a lot like Khabib Nurmagomedov. Pressures his opponent back up to the cage. Once the opponent's back up to the cage, he uses the striking to set up the entries on the takedowns, and then he just chain wrestles and wrist rides and wears on you until you finally give up a dominant position, and then he gets that rear naked choke. All of his submissions are by rear naked choke. Most of his knockouts come by way of ground and pound. He's so dominant, you guys. So you want to trade, you want to go with dominant fighters, or whoever you think is going to win a 5-round fight. Those are great options for a cash game play. So I think we've talked about them already, but I mean, with Oral Boy or Pantoja, you're going to get a really good value for either one of those guys this week.
I wonder if we'll have the same lineup, Weezy, because I have both those in my lineup at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see.
I do too.
Yeah.
Gordo does as well. Okay, we'll see. All right, Gordo, what do you like for cash?
Yeah, let's go with someone who I don't have in my lineup, but I actually Bunker already talked about him, so I'll keep this one short. Michel Pereira, 9.6K, very expensive this week, but I think there are some dogs that are alive to be able to go out there and get there. Pereira's a guy who I just think has a pretty good matchup in this spot. He's getting a step down in competition. Ihor Potieria is not a guy who I rate very highly. I have been fortunate enough to make a lot of money betting against him, and I'll probably try to do the same thing here. I think he has the ability to be hit a lot more than one would like. He's very hittable. His cardio is definitely in question. He is someone who is definitely going to be fighting up in competition, whereas Michel Pereira, although the cardio concerns when he's doing 12 backflips are there, there's no denying he's very accurate. He's very powerful, has potential to win on the ground as well. I do think there's just many avenues for Pereira to get it done, and he should win this fight at a very high clip. He's who I'm liking in cash.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd see Michel Pereira at minus 700 now, but here we are, which, skill for skill, I think he should be a massive favorite, but that guy's just pulled so many stunts in the past. But like you said, this is a new and improved version of Michel Pereira. He's not fighting like an idiot anymore, so that's good. All right, let's move on to our favorite value play, and we'll start with you, Gordo. Who you liking for some value this week?
Someone who I'm surprised we haven't talked about. Actually, I think you already did once, but Alexandre Costa, 8.2K. I think there's some definitely value on that guy there, just because the way this fight is going to play out, I think it's be at a high enough pace that there is going to be a very competent score from both sides. Not only is Borralho going to be able to go out there and push the striking exchanges, allow for Costa to throw a lot of volume, but we saw Borralho take it down 6 times in a contender series. We have seen Costa go out there land takedowns. There's a world where I think this could be a very, very high-paced fight where we could get a very sticky score from Costa, who is very early in the card, someone who I do think goes overlooked this week, and someone where I do see a lot of love for Borralho. So we're going to get a guy with some decent value on the ownership side of things and on the price savings, who has volume and takedown upside. I think Costa definitely has a path to that optimal lineup, and I love his ability to go out there and fight at a high pace. Should be a very, very fun fight, but there certainly is value in my eyes.
Yep, I like that call. Monk, who are you liking for some value?
Well, speaking of guys that we haven't fights we haven't talked about at all, which is kind of shocking. I was going to go with Ruffy or Huffy because I think I do like the price tag and the upside, but I'm going to give you Joanderson Brito against Jack Shore here at $8,500. I mean, the guy's been on an absolute tear. He put up 130 against Feely, 104, 108, and then 86 against Jonathan Pierce, and one of the funnier ends to a fight that I've ever seen. Super satisfying as well. Meanwhile, Jack Shore takes the L to Ricky Simone, hasn't been fighting the best competition. Hunter Azure, Ludovic Shalinian, Timur Valiev, and then Makwan Amirkhani. Like, what are you supposed to do with those guys if not beat them handily? So this is obviously a big step up. I just love Brito's constant pressure and just the way he fights overall. I think in that Simone fight is very important here. Jack Shore was taken down a couple of times. I think the exact same thing can happen here. And Brito, I think, is actually more active on the ground than Ricky Simone is these days. So yeah, I think Brito's got a very high ceiling and a possible finish here. And at 8,500, this could be gigantic value. So absolutely love this guy this week and love this fight as a whole. But yeah, Brito, one of my favorite value plays for sure.
Yeah, I'm shocked. That was the first time we talked about him, I think. So yeah, Brito's up there with me. I'm going to go with you. You mentioned him for a second. It's Hoofy for me. He's only 8,400, and this money line is getting just completely blown out. It looks like he's minus 210 now on the money line. Really popular play. People are fading the chin of Jamie Malarkey, and yeah, I think the most likely scenario is going to be a Hoofy knockout, and probably within the first 2 rounds as well. He's only 8,400. Jamie Malarkey's been knocked out so many times at this point, and his last knockout loss was brutal, and it wasn't even too long ago. I think it was like late December. So I think Hoofy does go out there, get a knockout in 8,400. I think he scores very well. Weezy, who you liking for some value this week?
Yeah, I think I'll go with Karolina Kowalkiewicz this week. The price is rock bottom. There's a really good chance that this fight sees the scorecards, at least 60%. And then Karolina's scoring 3.02 DraftKings points per minute, but more importantly than that, she's landing 6.3 distance strikes per minute. So if this fight takes place at distance, you can count on Karolina putting up triple digits. 100 significant strikes over 15 minutes, that gives you a 40-point baseline. And when you're punting at 7,000 and you're getting 40 points before the decision's even read, you'll take that every time, because in a cash lineup, that's going to save you a ton of money, and it's going to give you a really good chance to get 5 winners in your lineup. So I think that Kowalkiewicz at 7,000 is a good value this week. She's very durable, and she's still fighting at a high level. As a matter of fact, she's won her last 4 fights. So I think that it's a good punt option. There's a lot of value on it. And if her durability holds up and she goes the full 15, that she'll be a really good option at 7K.
Yep, I like that call. I have her in my cash lineup at the moment. Super cheap. I think a decent floor. I don't think she wins, but decent floor nonetheless. All right, let's move on now to our dart throw. A couple things sticking out. We'll start with you, Gordo. What are you liking for a dart throw this week?
Yeah, let's do it. Anthony Smith, 6.8K for a dart throw. And the big reason behind that is not exactly due to the recent form he's had, but just to the sheer ownership I expect Petrino to have and the leverage you're going to get on a guy in Anthony Smith. I think he's going to come in very owned with a lot of ownership on his opponent. And if that's the case, he's a guy with much better level of experience. He's a guy who has been at the top of the division. And although he has not been able to absorb damage as well recently, is just as dangerous on the ground, is able to compete in the volume. And I do think if he's able to go out there and fight the same way Anthony Smith of old is able to fight, I do think he can win this fight. I mean, it was only 3 fights ago that Petrino was a underdog to Anton the Pleasure Man Turkali. Shout out to the boy. If that's, I know that Petrino's looked good recently, and it's, of course, I'm picking him to win. I think he has that damage factor and should be able to get a knockout here. A shot at 6.8K on Anthony Smith. What if he's able to land on top? I do think he has some good jiu-jitsu. I think he is the best opponent Petrino's ever fought, and you're getting a lot of leverage on the field there. So dangerous pick, but I'm going to go for it there.
Yep, and that's why it's a dart throw. That's why it's a dart throw. Monk, who are you liking for a dart throw this week?
Love that one. Also would love to hear somebody say Paul Craig's name as well, but I'm going to give you Ernesta Carrot Cake this week at 7,300. I think.
Did you say Carrot Cake?
Yeah, isn't that her name? Ernesta Carrot Cake?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it's Bugs Bunny's favorite dessert. That's her name right there. Yeah, give me Ernesta Carrot Cake here. She's no my titty back oral boy. Finally got to say it. But yeah, I'm telling you, we could do a spelling bee with these names this week, guys, for sure. It's a good week. Both of these fighters are have no professional experience. Half of them have fought, 0-2, 0-0, 2-0 fighters. Barbosa actually has a fight against, or has a win against Karine Silva. I mean, she probably didn't look like she did on the scale on Friday last week when she got that loss. But yeah, she immediately followed up that win with a loss to José and Nunes. So you can take both of those how you want to take them. My whole thing is one of these women is 8,900. And the other one is 7,300. Neither one of them even has 10 fights. And one of them, at least we know, I mean, I would be tired as shit if I threw 168 strikes in 15 minutes. So at least we know Carrot Cake can do that. So give me Carrot Cake at 7,300 for a dart throw this week.
I love the pronunciation there.
And now everyone's going to call her Carrot Cake for the rest of her UFC career. You're welcome.
At least it won't last too long, probably. But
yeah, right. She's the next Ronda Rousey, I heard.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
But Monk, I'm like disappointed. I'm like wondering if you're okay. You haven't talked about Paul Craig at all. Like, what's going on?
I said Paul Craig. I said it at least.
That's
He's
it,
got blonde hair, bro. He got hair plugs, and now he dyed them blonde.
Yeah.
He's making it difficult, man. I'm still backing him, but he is making it tough.
Yeah, I don't know how to cap that blonde hair. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, he's like, I did it because of Charles Oliveira. I'm like, bro, it just looks gray. What are you doing?
Yeah, I didn't really like it myself, but a lot of people did.
Too much attention to his hair lately.
Yeah, it's Paul Craig for me. I mean, this guy's the ultimate dart thrower against anybody, like anybody. I mean, this guy can go out there and win on any given night. I hate this matchup for him, but I hate every single matchup for Paul Craig, and he just finds a way. Like if this fight hits the mat, he's very, very dangerous, and he's super cheap as well. So anytime Paul Craig's fighting, doesn't matter who it is, could be anybody. He's always going to be a dart throw for me, and I'll always sprinkle him. Can never leave that guy out. Gordo, you already went, so I'll give it to Weezy. Who do you like for a dart throw?
Yeah, so let me paint a picture here for you, and this could happen. So let's just consider what the scene would be if it did happen, right? Michel Pereira is on a 6-fight win streak, right? 7-fight, something like that. Last 2 fights at middleweight, first round finishes, 61 seconds, 66 seconds, absolute starchings, ass shavings, right? And with every ass shaving that he puts under his belt, he gets a little bit more confident. He gets a little bit more hubris. We saw it last time, didn't we? Full-on dance routine before the Alexandre fight. There was choreography. There was music. There was even a bit of a light show there, okay? What if this event has 2 of the longest walkouts in history? Gene Silva is going to be staring down his opponent from the second that he walks out, and that's going to take 15 minutes. What if Michel Pereira hires all the backup dancers from Janet Jackson's late 1990s Rhythm Nation tour and comes out there and just absolutely gasses out, putting on a capoeira and dance performance before he goes into the ring, and he just takes this kid Potieria too lightly, a guy who is already went into the lion's den and beat the great Mauricio Shogun Hua. Can you imagine the scene if Ihor Potieria beats a gassed out Michel Pereira after his 14-minute dance routine walking into the cage, and not once but twice craters the hopes of the entire country of Brazil? Your dart throw, Ihor Potieria. It could happen, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. It could happen.
It could. I mean, Diego Sanchez beat Pereira.
He sure did. He sort of Tristan Connolly.
Which is
why
even worse.
did Tristan Connolly beat him? Dance routine.
Yes.
What's Izzy do? Izzy ain't doing shit. Maybe you should call up Izzy.
Exactly. Just saying those losses out loud are just crazy. Like losing to Tristan Connolly's crazy. Yeah, I actually wrote down Ihor and Paul Craig were my 2 easy. So it would more so be Michel Pereira really effing up here, which we've seen it twice thus far in his career. So, all right, let's move on to the lineups from last week. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, be sure to put them in the chat. I have starred 3, now 4 questions, and it looks like actually only 2. So I've started 2. So if you guys have any questions, put them in. Last week we had, I don't know what card it was last week. UFC Vegas 91, maybe. Yeah, UFC Vegas 91. In 4th place, we had Uncle Weezy. Weezy, you need to go back on vacation, man.
I know. Dude, I got shaved.
What's going on? Weezy was on a roll, kicking everybody's ass. Came back, and he had Jonathan Denise 91. Superman Ryan Span 18, Mateus Nicolau 8, Jonathan Pierce 67, really good in the loss. Lipsky 29, Tim Means 5. We scored 221.42. And 3rd place was myself, not much better. Jonathan Denise 91, Superman Ryan Span 18, Jonathan Pierce 67, Karina Silva 84. James Yan top 7, and then Liang Na 29 scored 298.
What were you about? And then that what?
I was about to say that bum, but I want to be nice to my girl. 298.79. Second place was Gordo, Jonathan Didiz as well, 91. He also had Superman Ryan Spann, Jonathan Pierce 67, James Yan top 7, Austin Hubbard 83, and then Alex Perez 91. Gordo scored 359.6. And then in first place, Monk, Ketland Souza with 80, Jonathan Deniz 91, Jonathan Pierce 67, James Yan top 7, Alex Perez 91, and then Gabriel Benitez 48. Monk, who scored 386.22. Congrats, Monk. You're first place for UFC Vegas 91.
I will take it. A couple of much needed wins this week, though. I was literally typing the scores in, and right before I clicked over to the sheet where it says, this whole scores that we have, it's like, there's no way. I mean, I'm in fourth place. And I looked this at 1. I almost spit water all over my screens. It was not a great week for anybody, but I will take the win and hope. Let's hope we get these scores up this week if not for ourselves, for the people. God damn it.
Can we give a shout out to our boy Lou Betcha, who did have a decent lineup?
Oh yeah,
I didn't do any research. He's like, play this lineup, it'll be good, and I didn't listen. I didn't listen to him, and that's my own mistake. I will never make that mistake again.
Thank you for bringing him up. I scored 386 and I won. Lou scored like 530 something. So he just blew us all out.
Yeah, every time he's been on the show, he's done really well. So shout out to him. All right, so we are now 14 cards in for the year, and fourth is Uncle Weezy with 5,420 DraftKings points. Third is Monk with 5,524 DraftKings points, and second is Gordo with 5,637 DraftKings points, and in first is myself with 5,781 DraftKings points. Gordo is 144 behind me, Monk is 257 behind me, and then Weezy is 361 behind me. 14 cards in, many, many more to go. Let's do our lineups for this week, and let's kick it to our Uncle Weezy. What do you got for this week, Weezy?
Lineups, and we've got on top. Oh, come on. All right, we've got Pantoja, Oral Boy, Barbosa, Brito, Kowalkiewicz, and Gomi.
We have 4 the same. Gordo, what do you got for this week?
Subject to change, but I got my titty back Oral Boy up top. We have Alexandre Pantoja. We have Alessandro Costa, Joanderson Brito, Marcelo Ruffy, and Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Yeah, I have the same thing.
I do have a backup. Would you like to hear the backup?
Yeah, I'm taking that one. You can take the backup.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Very thoughtful.
Because I don't want to change it. I love this lineup.
I don't mind either. I kind of want to get Carrot in there, so I'll allow it just for this one.
Carrot cake.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry. So then we'll go with my titty back Oral Boy, Alexandre Pantoja. We'll go with Close, Costa, and Carrot Cake.
All right. Sounds good. Monk, what do you got for this week?
I thought I was going to be way different, and I'm not. Michel, Pereira, Pantoja, Drakkar Close. I thought that was going to be a unique one. Joanderson Brito, Ernesta Carrot Cake, and of course, Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Do we all have Carrot Cake or Karolina?
I'm not anymore. I
thought I was being sneaky.
My bad.
It's the vodka. You get angry.
But I do remember one time, Gordo, you took my lineup. I let you have it, and then you kicked my ass that week. So it's payback.
That's okay. I'm going to be asking Lou anyways. He's got the hot hand.
Yeah, he does. Heck yeah.
Right.
All right, guys. Let's get to some questions here. We have the first question is, what fights can we sprinkle for the draw or ends in split? This can be for the panel.
Ends in split, huh?
Ohio and Craig.
Martinez, Aldo.
Yeah.
It's going to be a distant striking match. It's probably going to be pretty close.
Yeah, I like that call.
Costa Borralho.
If Craig even wins one round, a judge is going to give him 2 rounds. So.
And then Silva Gomi. I like.
Yep.
Costa Borralho.
Yeah.
if there's a dominant like grappling round for Costa, and then the volume build up for Borralho as it
I
goes
mean, our
on.
girl Kowalkiewicz and Lucindo. If Lucindo dog walks her for a round, who knows?
Which fighters on the card has the most striking volume? In other words, can anyone land 150 plus significant strikes?
Karolina Kowalkiewicz, Ernesta Carrot Cake. If that winds, if the Carrot Cake fight winds up being a distant striking match, she's going to land a ton of strikes.
Pantoja.
Yeah, with
Good for
five rounds.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else on this card could take 150 strikes.
No. Erceg have a hope to keep away from the grapple and win.
Sure, I mean he's got the big size advantage, but he hasn't been tested like this.
And he's more handsome as well.
That's true.
He's very handsome.
He'll also have more success fixing your laptop.
Yes.
Yep. He was wearing the hoovy or whatever. Was it the Hooven? I don't know who it was.
I don't
the
know.
Black and white stripe, and everybody just looks just like a Foot Locker.
You guys think there ever be a female champ with some honkers? I'm talking
Bonkers.
Dolly Parton, or you got to sacrifice that if you want gold.
Well, Silvana Gomez Juarez tried it. That didn't work.
Derek Lewis was almost there.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to wait. Augmentations need to wait till after the career. You got to make weight, bro. We're talking about making weight.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good when that's a good percentage of your body weight. Not going to be optimal for an athlete.
He said Dolly Parton.
Cupcake.
Who Dolly Parton is, dude?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
she's saying that at 9 to 5, right?
Yeah, exactly. And she was incandescent in that movie as well, Brady. I'll have you know. She's a multi-talented lady.
Yeah, she does a lot of things.
She even gave us Dolly World. Is there anything that Dolly Parton hasn't done? That'd be a shorter list.
Not to my knowledge.
She
Any
was
good
around
parlay play?
when my titty back Earl boy was.
Sure. Any good parlay plays? Probably not for me. I mean, I think some of these favorites is too wide to parlay.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's stupid. Like Pereira minus 700, Borralho minus 625. I don't know. Anything you guys like from a parlay perspective?
I got a parlay that I'm tracking. It's the over 1.5 rounds for Borralho versus Craig with Joanderson Brito's money line. Comes out to about plus 150.
I like that.
Nice plus money shot. We'll see how it goes, but that's my parlay that I'm tracking this week.
Yeah, just don't go throwing Petrino and whoever's again Borralho and don't
put together a Bellator parlay.
Don't do that this week.
Yeah.
Well, those Bellator parlays always seem to do really well.
Oh, always. You never see people complaining after Bellator. Like, how did this minus 900 lose? You're the loser for betting on a minus 900 Bellator fighter.
Every single time. All right. Anyway, let's do our quick picks and head out of here. Maybe we have a show coming up, so we got to get this rolling. Quick picks for UFC 301. Weezy, what do you got?
Alessandro Costa by first round sub. Ismael Bonfim by decision. Deani Barbosa by second round sub. Mauricio Hufi by second round KO. Drakkar Klose by decision. William Gomi by decision. My titty back Oral Boy by decision. Iasmin Lucindo by decision. Joanderson Brito, second round sub. Caio Borralho by decision. Michel Pereira by decision. Vitor Petrino, second round knockout. Jonathan Martinez by decision. Alexandre Pantoja by decision.
All right. Gordo, what do you got for quick picks?
Yeah, we're going to go with Costa decision, Bonfim decision, Carrot Cake decision. Actually, no, sorry. I went Barbosa decision on that one. I got this the right way. I'm cheering for Carrot Cake, though. You got to, but I did go with Barbosa. Ruffy KO2, Shakar close decision, Gene Silva decision, My Titty Back Oral Boy ground and pound KO2, Iasmin Lucindo decision, Joanderson Brito KO2, Kyle Borralho sub 3, Michel Pereira KO1, Vitor Petrino KO2, Jose Aldo decision, and Alexandre Pantoja decision.
All right, I'm going Alessandro Costa sub 2 rear naked choke. I'm going Bonfim decision, Carrot Cake decision, Hoofy KO2, close KO3, Silva, that is Gene Silva by decision, Oral Boy by decision, Lucindo by decision, Brito KO1, Borralho KO2, Pereira KO1, Petrino decision, Aldo decision, and Pantoja decision. Monk, quick picks for 301.
We'll go Costa decision, Bonfim decision, Carrot Cake decision, Hoofy KO1, close KO2, Gene Silva decision, My Titty Back Oral Boy decision, Karolina Kowalkiewicz decision, Brito sub 2, a rear naked choke, Borralho decision, Pereira KO1, Petrino KO3, Martinez decision, and Pantoja by decision.
All right, there we go. There we have it. Going to kick it around. We'll start with Uncle Weezy. Uncle Weezy, what do you got going on for this week? You already did a ton of content, but you have a ton more coming, I think.
Yeah, man, we got probability 15 minutes from now. DFS by the Numbers YouTube channel. We've completed the product. We're ready to go. It's ready to go. It's out of the showroom. It's buffed and waxed, shining up. Ready to find some plus EV spots on this card, stack cash tickets like flapjacks, and then I'm going to finally do my full card breakdown tomorrow, 1:05 Central Time, 5 minutes after the hour, 1 o'clock. Give you all 14 fights, a pick on all 14 fights, finish with Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 301 and bathe in the blood of our vanquished Draftkings enemies. Let's go, you guys.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, check out Probability going live in about 12 minutes. Gordo, let the people know what you got going on for this week.
Fire me up, Weezy. Let's go. Wish you guys all the best of luck in your content. I have to run because I have a hockey game shortly, and I got to go catch that. Who puts them on Wednesdays? They know it's Pub Sport Radio season, all right? We got to fix that in the future. But I already posted my full card breakdown, both betting and DraftKings on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'll also be posting a Best Bet video there, sponsored by CoolBet on Friday, as well as all premium content on Establish the Run, where I do podcast rankings projections with Brett Apley. So check that out there. Me on Twitter at GamblesGordo, and I wish you all the best of luck in all your DraftKings endeavors this weekend.
All right. See you, Gordo. Good luck at your hockey game. Enjoy it. Let's go. All right. And then Monk, what do you got going on for this week?
Well, if you didn't get enough Gordo, he's going to be on Bankroll or Bust tomorrow with Easy and with Johnny K Picks. We're going to record probably around 8:30, so I'll probably post it a couple hours after that. And we moved it to Thursdays so we can be sure, hopefully, that freaking props are out. Otherwise, be sure to check out Lou Betya, probably on the MMA Engine channel, dropping that Kentucky Derby heat this week. You'll know the video because it'll be the best thumbnail you ever did see. So be sure to check that out this week. And then happy hour tomorrow, midnight Eastern, 11 p.m. Central Time. Me and Lou breaking down 301 betting and DraftKings. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I saw that thumbnail, Monk. You were talented.
That's
probably one of the best thumbnails I've ever seen. Seriously, it was really good. I liked it.
Thanks.
So yeah, I can't wait for some Kentucky Derby. And yeah, guys, so leave a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, go to DFS by the Numbers right now and check out Probability. And yeah, that's about all I got. Best of luck for UFC 301. We'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.